Hello folks, the Y Guy here again. Welcome to my home on this very drizzly, rainy spring day, and it's wonderful. The name of this video is called The Y Guy Explains the Abode of the Dead. You know, something's just not adding up with me. It might with you, okay, and that's fine. With the abode of the dead phrase that we hear all the time, all right, within Christendom. Now there's a translation of abode. Now, sorry for the lack of technology here, as well as for you Greek scholars and you people who can speak the Greek language, sorry for how horrible I'm going to say these words. But abode in the Greek looks like this, okay? Katokia. And I put the accent in the total wrong place, okay? Sorry about that. And it simply means residence, house, home, dwelling, domicile, abode. Also from the Strong's Concordant, if you look it up there, the word is monet, another word for abode, and it means lodging, dwelling, place, room, abode, mansion. And you notice the word land isn't anywhere in there? That's important. Stick that in the back of your mind just for a moment. I'll bring it up again here in a moment, okay? Okay, now I gave you what the word abode, because I want to do abode of the dead. Of the in the Greek looks like this, okay? Tov or tav, and o for the. Now, dead, I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing this right. It is pronounced nekros, okay? And it looks like this, nekros. All right, so it should be, sorry again for my accent, but katokia tov o nekros is as close as I can get, and the way I say it anyway, or monet tov o nekros, if you want to use monet instead. So none of it means this, and yet everyone thinks it does. None of it means that. That word right there can't be found anywhere, okay, within the abode of the dead, and yet everyone claims this is defined as the abode of the dead. All right? I'll prove it. Now, according to Webster's, Merriam-Webster's online, Hades means, quote, in Greek mythology, Hades is both a land. That's that word land. Remember how I mentioned that word land is never part of the word abode? Okay? The land of the dead and the God who rules there. There's not even a space between, there's not even a comma with and. It's all part of the same thing, and the God who rules there. That's also extremely important. And because I can't help but to understand that this is an actual place for the dead rather than a condition of being dead. Big difference. Follow me. Also, according to Wikipedia, quote, in Hades means in the ancient Greek religion and myth, is the god of ancient Greek religion and myth. Hades means is the god of the dead and the king of the underworld, with which his name became synonymous. Hope I didn't chop that up too bad, that definition. Sorry. So, but you know, here's the point. I looked and I looked everywhere I could in academia, and I couldn't find Hades as being defined as the abode of the dead. Yet, everywhere in Christian circles, it's accepted as legit simply because it happens to be in the Septuagint, which is the Old Testament. So they naturally assume, oh, it's legit. Okay? And it happens to be in some Bibles. Not all. That's critical, all right? So, so I discovered that the Greek language simply, you know, in academia and Greek literature, it doesn't back up what Christendom claims. It just doesn't. Because this does not mean this or this, and I'm doing them out of order, or this, okay? It just doesn't. Anywhere in literature, I couldn't find it. Where you bring up abode or dead or anything like that in literature, you'll never find the word Hades in there. You just won't. Prove me wrong, and I don't mind. I don't mind being proven wrong. I really don't. Okay? Now, but I had an aha moment about this whole thing. According to the Jewish Encyclopedia, the Hebrew word Sheol means grave or tomb, as in a place the bodies are kept. Totally different. Totally different. Then maybe, just maybe, it can be interpreted as the abode of the dead. And I said maybe. See, I can see that. Yet this doesn't answer why Hades isn't defined as the abode of the dead anywhere within the Greek language. It's not. It's always defined as the God who, who ruled there, the dead and the king of the underworld and what have you, all right? This tells me ignorance is rampant. Okay, even in Merriam-Webster's refers to Hades as Sheol. It does. There's a big problem here, though. But it also refers to Hades as hell as well. But initially, it defines Hades as Hades is both the land, not the abode, but land of the dead and the God who rules there. So why did Webster stick Sheol in there as meaning both hell? They stuck hell and Sheol in there as defining Hades. So what they're trying to tell you is Sheol means a land of the dead and the God who rules there. Okay, I'm not stretching this here, folks. Then, here's the problem. Then when I looked up the word Sheol in the exact same frickin' website, same one, in that dictionary, there's no mention of hell or Hades anywhere. Yet there is when you look up Hades, there's Sheol and hell, but when you look up Sheol, there's no hell or Hades. Okay. But it only defines Sheol as the abode of the dead. Look it up. That's what I meant by ignorance. The definition Sheol, it says it this way, quote, the abode of the dead in early Hebrew thought, close quote. And note, I want you to note something. There was no other definitions anywhere. There just wasn't. So, according to Webster's, if Hades means Sheol and hell, yet Sheol doesn't mean Hades or hell. Do you see the problem here? The lack of consistency is atrocious. I don't want to muddy the waters too much, but it's also worth mentioning that Sheol is not mentioned when defining hell in the same dictionary. Yet Hades is mentioned. Do you see the problem? Yeah, you can't do that with these definitions. If A equals... Anyway, you follow me. Here's another problem that I'm having. The Hebrew word Sheol obviously came from Judaism, and Jews don't believe in a land of the dead and a God who rules there. In closing this video, one can't find this description in the Jewish encyclopedia anywhere. And the Tanakh, as an acronym of the three, and I said that word wrong, I apologize, acronym of the three sets of books which comprise it, which is the Torah, the prophets, and the writings. And there's, I can't pronounce the Hebrew words that describes these three books. But anyway, you cannot find any kind of definition of Sheol as being the land of the dead and the God who rules there in any of the ancient Jewish writings and the most holiest of their books. You won't find it. It doesn't exist. And yet we're supposed to believe that Sheol means the same as Hades, and Hades means land of the dead and the God who do. Are you seeing my problem here? Sheol does not mean Hades or hell. So because with the evidence and language and the lack of evidence in the Jewish writings and culture, I can't help but to come to that conclusion. So I know I'm not alone in this thinking. I know I'm not. Because the Concordant Literal Bible has neither hell nor Hades in it. In the whole Bible. Okay, so look it up. I wrote about this a lot in my book, In Defense of God's Love. Okay, and I might have, I've got a new book I'm presently getting edited right now. That'll be coming out in a week or two. It's called Is God Bipolar? I did a complete chapter on hell, all the verses, all the passages in the Bible that mention hell, and all the passages that mention Hades. And I bring some of this up in that as well. All right, so consider that. I'll leave a link to this book here on under the Show More section of the description of this video, along with consider supporting this channel with either coffee, buy me a cup of coffee, folks, or what's the other one? I don't remember. What are they called? Thank you for viewing.